From the Digital Media Center on the campus of Southern Oregon University in Ashland, Oregon. This is Ramping Up Your English, an educational program for intermediate level English language learners. Here's your host for Ramping Up Your English, John Letts.
Welcome to Ramping Up Your English. Ramping Up Your English is for English learners from all language backgrounds who've already begun the process of learning English as their second language. It's a program for people of all ages. If you're seeking greater English proficiency, this program is designed to help you reach that goal. Ramping Up Your English is a support program for English learners who have already passed the beginning stages of learning English. We take a content-based approach to helping you reach higher English proficiency. We use English to teach English. The theme of our first unit is trains and railroads. This is episode 9, segment 1. We've been traveling eastbound on Amtrak's Sunset Limited. Today we'll continue seeing the last 3 parts of that journey to New Orleans. In episode 8, we left viewers in the deserts of New Mexico. Now we continue further east. Here's part 3 of that journey.
There's a lot to see from the train in New Mexico. We're headed east on the Sunset Limited, crossing the great desert land in America's Southwest. From Tucson, Arizona, the Sunset Limited spends a good part of the day traveling to El Paso, Texas, often passing freight trains. These tracks are owned by the Union Pacific Railroad. Amtrak has to lease the tracks. Near the Texas state line, northwest of El Paso, the tracks enter this sprawling rail yard, constructed by the Union Pacific Railroad. In a distant part of this yard, we see freight containers and the equipment that lifts them off the rail cars. Our train crept into these brand new service islands where locomotives take on fuel and other necessities. I suspect that the railroad has invested over $1 billion in this huge desert-located installation. On the opposite side of our train, we saw a treat. Waiting on a parallel track was the westbound Sunset Limited. I say it was a treat because it's always exciting to encounter the sister train, and it's usually going by so fast that it's just a blur. Not this time. In the westbound train, we see the same consist as our own train going eastbound. Of course, there's the 2 locomotives. Here's the baggage car. And behind the baggage car, we have the sleeping cars. On this train, there are 2 of them. Here's the first one, and then here's the second one. After those cars, the sleeping cars, we have the dining car, which from the outside looks identical. And then we have the viewing car, which is also the lounge car. Behind that, we find the coaches. Now it's time for our train to pull out. We're not far from El Paso, but first we have to clear this gigantic complex of trains, freight containers, and trucks.
There's a border crossing over there.
What's that?
Border crossing over there.
Oh,
right
is
here.
that what it is?
The Sunset Limited runs right along the border with Mexico. allowing passengers a quick glimpse of our neighbors to the south.
This is the border right here.
To Mexico?
Yep, that's Mexico right over there.
Dad? Dad,
Hola, amigos.
that's Mexico.
Soon there was no more town, only the sprawling desert and the border patrol.
Oh, yeah. El Paso.
Soon we were on a high trestle, entering El Paso, the most westerly city in Texas.
So that is the Rio Grande River right there. That's all there is to it.
Here we saw a fence between us and our neighbors.
That would be the fence.
Yep,
That would
and
be
there's the
Mexico.
border guard right over there. It's a train station.
El Paso.
And this is the El Paso train station right here.
This distinctive structure was designed by the same architect as the Union Station in Washington, D.C.
There's a sign by the double doors that says baggage claim. At the sign that says baggage claim is where you can claim your baggage. Please have your line checks ready.
Let the good times roll.
Here's a freight train carrying cargo containers from the West Coast ports, still headed east. El Paso is a good opportunity to get off the train for a while and walk around on something that's not moving. It's also a chance to get a good look at the train you're on. That's how I discovered that the Sunset Limited was pulling these private historic cars on the end of the train. We were pulling 4 of them. We were in Texas now, only about 900 miles to the Louisiana border, picking up some new passengers to take east.
Welcome back to Ramping Up Your English. Our goal is to help you elevate your level of English proficiency in a way that causes the least amount of stress. Our approach is to make English learning interesting and fun by doing a thematic type approach. And our first theme is trains and railroads. When the Sunset Limited rolls through southern Arizona and New Mexico, it rolls through a part of the United States known as the Gadsden Purchase. This strip of land was bought from Mexico for $10 million in order to make way for a railroad linking the South with the West Coast. The purchase took place after the Treaty of Guadalupe ended the Mexican-American War and well before the Southern Pacific Railroad built the second transcontinental railroad in 1881. In Mexico, the purchase is known as the Venta de Mesilla. Once Southern Pacific Railroad reached El Paso, it traveled on pre-existing railroads to New Orleans. We'll travel on that section when we return.